Hey, how's it going? Here's some history on anti-vax movement. Now, if you're an anti-vax person or if you are a vaccination person, this is still interesting history stuff. So let's get started.
Um,
1798. So a British doctor and scientist, Edward Jenner, discovers that injection people with pus from a cowpox or a much less dangerous alignment than smallpox can protect them from contracting the latter disease. His medical breakthrough, vaccination, gets its name from a Latin word for cow and vacca, towards medical science and the belief that forced vaccination is a violation of personal liberty. Vaccination bovine connection doesn't help its reputation. James Gillray, one of the era's most brilliant political cartoonists, satirized the worrying in a drawing, the cow pock, or the wonderful effects of the new inculation that shows a doctor that is just vaccinated patients. Tiny cows protrude like tumors from their body parts and they tumble from trousers and skirts. 1866. Anti-vaxxers assemble after giving vaccinations to the world. Great Britain becomes the first center of organized anti-vax activity. The Anti-Compulsory Vaccination League, which later evolved into the National Anti-Vax League, is founded in 1866. At an 1875 meeting, it passes a motion summarizing in general outlook that in the judgment in the meaning of vaccination is an unprincipled, unscientific, useless, and promiscuous practice. And the law which enforces the practice is violent of political science, and an offense against the free Constitution of England. And that this means, therefore, pledges itself to use every legitimate means to free the country from this is a violation unwise to the law. Following Britain's lead, vaccine skeptics in the US started organizing, such as the Anti-Vaccination Societies of America in 1879, the New England Anti-Compulsory Vaccination League in 1882, and the Anti-Vax League of New York City in 1885. Their crusade leads to the end of mandatory vaccination laws in several states. 1918. The Spanish flu spreads around the world, infecting 500 million people and killing somewhere between 17 and 100 million, according to the various estimates. Not surprisingly, scientists attempt to create a vaccine to combat it. They are unsuccessful, but even the idea of testing prototype vaccines raises the hackles of vaccine adverse. Do you want to be experienced on? Bellows, an Iowa chiropractor, on a full-page newspaper ad that raises the anti-vax fears as part of sales pitch for his services. 1954. Dr. Jonas Sackles' groundbreaking polio vaccine is about to go into nationwide trials involving 1.8 million school children. Influential columnist and broadcaster Walter Winchell attacks the vaccine on his radio show, saying that it might be a killer based on monkey dying having killed during the testing phases. His prominence makes the assertion front page news. An estimated 150,000 parents and rescinded permissions their children to participate on the trials. Public health officials, newspaper editorialists, and Sack himself swiftly pushed back on Winchell's charges, likening the vaccine to phony cancer cures. He has derived in saying that even 99% odds of safety are inadequate. Nonetheless, the trials go on, and the polio's days were killed off. 1955. After Sack's vaccine is approved, 6 pharmaceutical companies gain the right to produce it. One Berkeley, California-based cultural laboratory accidentally releases 120,000 doses of vaccine containing the live virus. Rather than cultivating polio, their doses spreaded it, leading to a localized epidemic that ultimately killed 10 people and paralyzed another 200, mostly children. The so-called Coulter incident leads to the U.S. Surgeon General calling for a temporary halt on the vaccine program and to drop in vaccinations thereafter. But public confidence rebuilds, and dramatic advances are made in controlling polio by 1960. 1972. In a bombshell exposed, AP reporter Gene Halter reveals a horrifying government research project in which black male resident of Alabama who had syphilis were denied acknowledgement of the diagnosis, so the illness effects could be studied. Over the study, 40-year history, 128 of its subjects died of syphilis or related complications. 40 of their wives contracted the disease, and 19 children were born with it. Amongst this, it's taken its supporting evidence for conspiracy theories such as the idea that US government is intentionally spreading AIDS in the black community. Today, some experts argue that the experiment is too often used as a... Today, some experts believe that this experiment is why some black Americans don't believe the government's health initiatives such as the vaccines for coronavirus. In the 1970s, members of the British adversaries group called the Association of Parents of Vaccine Damaged Children say that their children suffered disastrous health consequences such as their brain damage after being vaccinated for various diseases. Their claim gained some support in the medical community, and the public and publicity over the matter seemed to lead to a downturn in parents willing to have their children vaccinated for the whooping cough. The UK government initially resists call to the components of the parents who claim vaccine-related harm to their children. Eventually leads to legislation called the Vaccine Damage Payment Act of 1979. The law arrives too late to increase vaccination rates in time to stop a major epidemic in 1978 and 1979, but it remains in effect today. In 1998, British medical journal Lancet published a study asserting that the widely used measles, mumps, and MMR vaccine might be linked to steep increase in children diagnosis with autism. Its lead author, Andrew Wakefield, calls for its use to be suspended. Wake's research eventually collapsed under the weight of investigative reporting that revealed falsification and conflicts of interest. Lancet retracts the study in 2004. The Wakefield is removed from the British Medical Register in 2010, but the fears he stoked among parents live on and amplified by others. 2005, activist Kennedy Shilton Robert F. Kennedy Jr. writes Deadly Immunity, an article that published by both Rolling Stone and Salon. The piece claims that a sprawling conspiracy of mercury-based preservatives once used in childhood vaccines explains the dramatic increase in autism diagnosis. Salon soon appends multiple correction, and it retracts the article altogether in 2011. Kennedy blames most of the errors on the editors. 2007, on the Oprah Winfrey Show, actress, model, and TV personality Jenny McCarthy discusses her new book about her son's autism, which she says she believes was caused by the MMR vaccine. She continues to make the assertion on the other programs such as Larry King Live and the Ellen DeGeneres Show, greatly raising the profile of Andrew Wolskin's discredited theories, usually with little pushback from the show's hosts. Of course, McCarthy's appearances is followed by other celebrities including Jim Carrey, McCarthy's then boyfriend, Jessica Biel, Toni Braxton, Bill Maher, Robert Schneider, and Alicia Silverstone, linking vaccines to autism. However, like McCarthy, they often object to being tarred as anti-vaxxers, claiming that they are opposed only to dangerous vaccines. 2015, after a measles outbreak at Disneyland, California, legislators proposed a law to prohibit parents from using personal belief as a way to opt out of vaccination requirements for schools and daycare centers. On Twitter, a drumbeat of opposition to bill the target lawmaker, lobbyists, and doctors internet researchers Rene D'Aristesta and Gilead Lotan write up their analysis of such tweets, showing them to be part of a coordinated attack, often including outright harassment, groups attempting to rebrand the movement from anti-vax to pro-safe vaccine. 2016, disgraced British doctor Andrew Wakefield directs a documentary film, Vaxxed, From Cover-Up to Catastrophe. Picking up on his 1998 study themes, changes that a conspiracy has surpassed evidence of a link between the MMR vaccine and autism. In 2019, the film inspires a sequel, Vaxxed 2, People's Truth, with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as executive producer. 2019, while social media giants such as Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube continue to take a laissez-faire approach toward anti-vax misinformation, a public policy and social impact manager at Pinterest spearheads the company initiative to take a radical different direction. Pinterest aggressively compacts anti-vax content by blocking searches for related terms and deleting pins and memes such as "proud to be anti-vax." That means I'm not just smarter than you, but also more likely to stay that way. Science says otherwise, but alrighty then. 2020. With COVID-19 vaccines on the way, conspiracy theories began to fold anti-vax elements into complex hoaxes that also incorporate their favorite topics of misinformation, such as philanthropist and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, electronic tracing and 5G technology. As NPR's Monica Velianchuis reports, one such twisty and wildly false conspiracy theory explains that COVID-19 pandemic was spread intentionally so that Gates and other members of the global elite could use vaccines as a ruse to implant people with the chips that can be used to spy on them via 5G. I guess I have 5G in me because I am vaccinated. 2021. As social media networks began taking vaccine misinformation more seriously, Facebook bars Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from Instagram for sharing debunked claims about the coronavirus or vaccines. However, Kennedy's accounts on Facebook itself and Twitter, which include posts expressing concerns about alleged negative effects of COVID-19 vaccines, remain online. Like social media giants, steps against other typical misinformation and the recent moves against anti-vax content are far from comprehensive. And the problem that was allowed to build for so long, that is a momentum that is difficult to stop. No matter what your view is, please comment down below and share your thoughts, whether you're an anti-vax or a regular vax person. What are your thoughts of it if you date an anti-vax person, or if you are an anti-vax person, if you date a person who is vaccinated? What's your beliefs on it? Let me know what you do, and have a great day. Thanks, bye.